You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, and streaming live on Ustream, this is AFTERBUZZ TV for Desperate Housewives. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest Desperate Housewives news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, picking up where the show leaves off and the buzz continues, it's AFTERBUZZ TV for Desperate Housewives.
Hi, everybody. How's everyone doing tonight? I'm Derrick Shore, along with Sara Stret and Roxy Stryer.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Thank you, thank you.
Tonight is really exciting for me because I feel like this is kind of a reunion. It's been a long time since all of us have been in the studio together.
For too long.
Since last season.
Yeah.
This is the first time this season we've all been in the studio together. Of course, we've got DJ Jesse in the booth. Jesse, thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
What up?
And if any of you have watched tonight's episode and you want to call in and talk about some of the things you saw or weigh in about the things that we are going to be talking about tonight, you heard the number in the intro. It's 424-256-1729. So call us.
Perfect.
It was a pretty good episode tonight, right?
Yeah, I would say that overall I got a good vibe from this episode. Someone brought up this weekend, I was telling them about AfterBuzz, and they were like, what show do you do? And I was like, Desperate Housewives. And they were like, is that still on? And I wanted to cry.
Oh.
And I was like, they were like, oh, I stopped after like season 4. And I was like,
I feel like that's the theme with a lot of people. And if you even mention the word housewives, people naturally think of
Beverly Hills.
Right, or New Jersey or Atlanta or something like that.
I think that overall this season has been so awesome that this episode in this season, not the best episode this season, but still on par with a good season.
Which character is standing out to you the most, Roxy, right now?
In a good way?
In any way?
I guess I'm going to go with Carlos.
Oh, interesting.
Because I like his storyline. It's sad what's going on with him, but I feel like we're getting layers to him and kind of seeing the difference between him and Gabby when usually they're more clumped as one.
Yeah, they've been pretty in sync lately. Their marriage has seemed pretty strong. But you totally called it tonight, Roxy, during one of the commercial breaks after we saw that Carlos stopped by Mike and Susan's house, and Mike said essentially stay away from Susan because these conversations may be helping you, but they're not helping her. You were totally like, oh, wow, welcome to Carlos the alcoholic.
Yeah. You know what? They dropped hints about it earlier when there was the bottle next to him, and he said, you know, I've been hitting it pretty hard recently. I want to kind of not, what did he say?
Said, I don't want to make a thing of
yeah,
I don't want to make a thing of it or something.
Yeah.
But then the last shot is him just holding the bottle, like
exactly.
eyeing it.
Yeah, so I could picture that one. It was complete foreshadowing there. I just think that this is really sad what he has to go through and being like and feeling like he's getting blamed by other people. It's sad.
Yeah, it's funny how like in TV world we are like rooting for these characters and we want them to get away with it because we know that it's no problem. It's just television. Of course they should get away with it.
Yeah, but he's a murderer.
Yeah, exactly. When you put it in perspective and you think, oh wow, they actually did kill someone, and we probably shouldn't be doing that in real life, right?
Yeah, but still at the same time, I think even if this was real life, I would be torn. I would for sure be torn about something like this because not with the way he dealt with it, but with the actual murdering of Gabby's father. Is it completely wrong? It was self-defense. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, and if they hadn't panicked and if they had called the cops, then of course things would be different. But I think Gabby and Carlos, though, sorry to cut you off. I know you're about to say something. Gabby and Carlos, they're a perfect example of like real life versus television because Gabby's character, I mean, I think she's phenomenal. I think she's great. She's fun. She's pretty. I mean, look at her. She's got like these great clothes on. She's coming from her spa day. In real life, a woman like this would drive me crazy.
Oh, yeah.
45 minutes late to this PTA meeting, totally self-involved. And then she has the nerve to say that these other PTA women are selfish, when clearly she has just totally demonstrated how selfish she is.
This was a completely unbelievable aspect of tonight's episode for me. I thought she was beyond over the top, beyond just everything felt so forced and like trying to be funny or trying to play a stereotype. And I come from an area where there are women who literally spend their days at the spa, you know, with their manicures weekly.
Tell our viewers where that is, Sarah. Where is that area?
You know, just certain areas of California.
I want to grow up in that area.
Southern California. There's just certain parts where, like, you're used to the moms coming in and they're full-on juicy tracksuits, you know? And
you want to slap them.
And you're like, your hair is perfect, your makeup is perfect. It is 9 a.m. on the dot, and you look like you went to spin and then got ready. Like, I've been there, but this was even beyond that. It was like, oh, they're jealous of me. And I was like, Gabby, you've grown. You do have a brain. This is horrible even for you. And to the point where I found her annoying in this episode.
Oh,
and annoying
too.
On the part that I wasn't
beyond.
Like, the character was annoying but just like almost the writing of it and everything. I was not happy with how over the top she was portrayed.
Wow. You hate Eva Longoria after this episode.
No, like I like Eva Longoria. But
totally
like I was literally like, really, you had to take it that far to make
it was
a
little
point?
far.
No,
like she could have been. Oh, continue.
No, I just completely disagree with you. I feel like you just said, I know women like this. I know women exactly like this. And I didn't like her, of course not. But that wasn't even what bothered me the most about it. It was the fact that haven't we been spending 8 seasons with Gabby having an arc and changing and becoming a better person? I feel like this was completely Gabby 5 seasons ago.
You are so right about that. You're so right.
There was no build up to it. They just threw it in there all of a sudden. I was, why did they want that to happen?
But don't you also feel, though, that a few seasons ago, rather, when Gabby's character became like the frumpy mom and her hair was short, she never wore makeup on the show, and all of us were like, oh, we kind of want glossy, sparkly Gabby back, and instead we have dumpy, mumpy Gabby. But I felt like immediately she was back with the hair and the makeup and the expensive everything.
Yeah.
And the brain that doesn't function?
Well, but that's exactly it, though. It's like on the outside, Gabby looked exactly the same, but I think that's an excellent point that suddenly she seems totally out of touch, despite all the drama of the murder and covering up Carlos's crime and all of the family stuff they've been through, and even her daughter Grace, who came back. I mean, this family has been through a lot, and suddenly in this episode, Gabby is like this clueless woman
who completely forgot about all of her experiences and all of her history on the show. Not even Longoria's fault. I do also believe this was the writer's fault. But I'm just saying I think it's completely realistic. And I think
it went beyond realistic. And I've seen people who are, I think, the extreme of like just up there with the looks and that being important. But I've never heard anyone say, oh, well, you're all jealous of me, so I'm going to hire my team to come treat you like me for the day.
That was a really good impression, Sarah.
Thanks.
Acting major.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
But really, like, that was just like a whole nother level. Like, there's one thing when you can tell someone's conceited and like thinks it's all about them. But some people are like, I know I'm conceited. I'm going to say I'm conceited, and you can be like me. Like, there's something there that's just not beyond not natural.
No, people who are so self-involved with like to that extent totally don't see it. But I'm saying she isn't that anymore. So
either way,
maybe if this had been a few seasons ago, it wouldn't have bothered you as much. Maybe you would have thought it was more realistic, but it was so out of left field to me.
And it just it wasn't as funny as it could have been. I thought, you almost you wanted to cringe more than laugh.
Oh, this episode, talk about cringing! I was squeezing Sarah's leg so much this episode.
Did you cringe during this nude scene?
During the nude scene, for sure. Oh, I was cringing left and right during the Lynette scene also. With the dating? With the dating. We'll get there, but oh my God.
And before we leave Gabby really quickly, here at AfterBuzz, we like to impart knowledge. Not that we have a lot of knowledge to impart, but we like to have interesting conversation. One thing that I just want to set the record straight about, when Gabby shows up at the PTA meeting and she brings in her whole team, the masseur, the nail person, the hair person, and she says, "You no longer have to be jealous of my fabulous life." She says to the man who's there to massage people, "This is my favorite masseuse." People, viewers, listeners, if you're out there, a masseuse is a woman. a masseur is a man.
If you want to make them generic, you say massage therapist.
Exactly. So please never refer to a male massage therapist as a masseuse.
Wow,
he
guys
is
are
a
really
masseur.
intense about this.
Because that's one of those things. It's like when you go to the coffee shop and someone asks if you would like to order an espresso. That word doesn't exist. It's espresso, people. Come on. It's very basic. Please remember this.
I'm in the room with a couple snobs, I feel like, right now.
Hey, listen,
Jess.
Desperate Housewives. So you know. But you would think a show of this stature with this budget would have writers who know.
Unnecessary roughness.
Seriously. You would also think that they would be able to Photoshop a photo better than that little wedding thing.
That Lynette and Tom photo, woof.
And
not in the good way.
The opening moment of the show was just horrible image quality.
Or the CGI on the growing of the grass in the episode, in the first episode. What the hell, Desperate Housewives?
Let's just say it's season 8. They're getting a bit sloppy.
It's sloppy.
They are tired. They are all in old ages.
The storyline's still great. The storyline's great, but they're getting lazy.
Okay, so let's go back to the nude scene because it's fresh in our minds. We just saw it here on television. Great model, by the way, but totally awkward with Susan laughing, right?
For the model, even. It's like, it must be embarrassing enough to kind of get in there and be naked, and then to have this one obnoxious art woman who's giggling and giggling.
Again, like Love Susan on the show would slap Susan in real life. Come on, you're in an art class and she can't control her giggling.
She's obviously been in an art class before. You think this would have come up? I
understand the uncomfortable aspect.
No pun intended.
On the come or the up? Anyway,
Roxy. Oh my goodness. Apologies to everyone out there.
Right. Anyway, so I understand uncomfortable laughter, but I kind of don't, because what about this is funny? But what is the funny part about being naked? Why was she giggling? And I get that sometimes when people say like potty, people giggle, or I guess at nakedness, but she was laughing as it like ha ha laughter, not like he he, like ha ha ha, you naked person standing there. This is awkward. It's like, pull yourself together, woman.
I think it's just a reminder that Susan's character is just a very special breed. You know, she is sort of a kid at heart and clearly lacks a bit of maturity.
This is coming from somebody who did porn.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. This is coming from someone who's been in strip clubs and owned a strip club.
But she was mortified by the naughty maid cleaning, though. I mean, she was not.
Yeah, but she did it. Like, I don't know. It was a little.
She didn't giggle through it.
She wasn't like, oh my gosh, I didn't do it.
And then she did come around, take off all of her clothes. By the way, I always notice these small things, and I know they're probably insignificant. If I were in an art class where I thought that I was to show up and actually be nude myself.
You don't walk in with no clothes on.
Exactly. Thank you.
That's so awkward because you got to walk out too. And
totally. You would go into the class and then take off your clothes like with all the other students, right? You wouldn't like leave your clothes at the door and then run into class naked like a fire drill.
I would probably wear something easy to get off.
So just like any other day, you're saying?
No, even like maybe a robe, but you don't show up completely naked.
I totally agree. So just in case any of us ever, happens to enroll in one of these classes, we'll know.
They have these. Oh, I was going to go way off topic, and then I was going to get that crazy sound that says you're going off topic. So I'm just going to stop, and we're going to go back.
You know what? Though?
What is the crazy sound that goes off topic?
It says.
I was just going to say, at our school, they have art classes where they pay the students to go in and model naked.
Yeah, absolutely. Every university.
And like people do it, and it's like normal, and those are like your peers. Isn't that more awkward? And no one ever has a problem with it.
Oh, I mean, in college, you see people naked in the showers all the time. So why not see them naked in an art class? I guess because it's co-ed, and so people freak out. I don't know. The whole world's just too uptight.
You know what I think we should do? If we ever are taking a class like that, we should probably tell the person next to us, be like, I hear the really mature thing to do is just show up naked. The person you hate next to you. Mm-hmm.
Unless that person is Susan Delfino, I doubt they'll believe you, Roxy. Hate to break it to you.
I think many people on the show would believe me. Gabby, she'd show up naked. Renee, she would show up naked.
Oh, Renee would want to show up
Renee
naked.
would totally show up naked.
Renee's like right now, right here, all for this.
Do you feel like Renee is a little bit too much like Nicolette Sheridan's character?
Do
you feel like they just like swapped out actors?
It was bizarre because it was clear that Edie needed to leave the show based not just on the character, but
based on real life.
On Nicola.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was kind of like, instead of just saying, that voiceover that you hear on soap operas, and it's like, today, instead of blah, blah, playing this role, we will have da-da-da playing this role.
Yeah.
Because that's really what it was. But then they had to have storylines where car accidents and death and all these awkward things that weren't really beneficial to the show at all, just to trade out the characters. I would have rather them just say, listen, same character, same name. Actor.
But I thought when Renee first showed up on the lane, and I have said before, I'm a huge Vanessa Williams fan. I think she's fantastic. I thought that her storyline was plausible and sort of like, okay, another woman on the lane who loves to dress provocatively and be sort of. But now, as this season continues to go on, I do feel like Edie's character and Renee's, they are just identical. They live in the same house. They dress the same way.
Yeah.
They talk about sex all the time. It's kind of like a one-trick pony for me.
Yeah, and it's not even that I'm not enjoying her character. It's just exactly what you're saying. We've seen it. We've seen it the whole time. And if you're going to give us something new, either give us something completely new or don't pretend that it's new.
One thing we haven't seen in a while is Bree's cooking. And I know she sort of randomly makes a batch of cookies every few episodes, but I actually really appreciated seeing her. I loved this scene in the kitchen where this guy, she's there at the homeless shelter and the guy pulls out the can and she looks at him mortified, like, you've got to be kidding me. This is what you serve people? Because remember last season when her cookbook line was going well, and I feel like I would love to see more of her doing what she does best.
Because it's passionate.
Yeah, exactly. But I can't stop thinking about this cop who I know is, this investigator who I know is going to come back in a future episode to bite her in the ass.
But in the meantime, they're giving her a lot of good, productive things to do. And I really liked it. I like where they took the whole soup kitchen. I like that they took a break from Crazy Cop.
Yeah, me too, exactly. I mean, we always talk about predictability every episode. It's so predictable that she's going to make some phenomenal soup. I actually wrote down what she made. Homemade soup. It's acorn squash bisque. She doesn't have that kind of accent, does she?
No, but gosh, I totally picture her with that as well.
Acorn squash bisque, creme fraiche and dried sage. I mean, come on. Who really cooks with all of these ingredients? Yeah, and she only has a little bit of time. Right. She makes the soup by noon.
Exactly.
And these recipes and ingredients just pop out of nowhere.
Do you think there's going to be a bit of romance between Bree and Ben?
I was just going to ask about that.
I was going to say this in predictions.
The problem is, I hope so. And that's a problem for me, conflict of interest. Because Renee and life and I don't know, somebody take over. It's stressing me out.
I was going to say this predictions, but they hinted so much at that. They have so many connections now. They have this homeless shelter. They have this new land development, which has a whole nother prospect. Mm-hmm. And they're just getting so interconnected, and they're showing them having so much in common, opposed to Ben's lack of similarity to Renee. And I feel like they're creating more chemistry between Bree and him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Between Renee and
Ben
him.
is too put together, and I mean the guy, for heaven's sakes, is asking Bree to speak to the local city council about this homeless housing development or something.
Yeah.
So someone who is really spending time to do something good in the nonprofit sector, I don't think is going to fall for someone like Renee, who seems to only be thinking about sex all day long.
I mean, they had the moment where they reflected her background, how she does have a little bit of a deeper level, but it's just, there's not enough time for us to have seen them together to love that relationship,
Yeah.
I feel like they haven't created something the audience wants to hold on to.
But he's blown her off every time, though, right? He's never really given her the time of day.
Since their moment, we haven't really seen them together.
Didn't we see something about Renee, though? I think it was last season or a couple seasons ago. Oh, no, last season. About being abused when she was younger. I know that something came out about why she didn't want to help somebody plan the birthday party or something like that.
What, Sarah?
Something did when she was on the couch and someone walked in on her crying, but I don't remember what the problem was. I know that she does have
somebody committed suicide or something.
Yes.
It was something.
I think.
Something along those lines. I don't know. But I remember thinking, she does have a history. And now with not last week, but the week before's episode, we do keep seeing little bits of Renee's life where there is more to her. So you never know. They could go that story route also. But they are making Bree and Ben
an item,
more
perhaps.
Compatible.
More compatible, exactly.
Well, Renee definitely, like, look at the scene with Renee and Lynette. Okay, well, they look cozy on the couch. We can't hear what they're saying, but they're actually talking about porn, if you remember. Renee was saying, like, oh, you've got to watch porn, blah, 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 whatever. And, of course, it's a risque, typical commentary for Renee, but she's really playing the role of encouraging friend. She's concerned about Lynette sitting there eating ice cream at home, alone, on her couch, and she says, I'm going to take you out. You've got to meet a man. And once in a while, it seems like Renee really comes in and says, listen, I'm going to put your needs ahead of my own. And then, of course,
it didn't last very long.
It didn't last very long. I was kind of surprised. Because, again, like, you see the softer side. Renee is saying, okay, I care about you as a friend. I'm going to take you out. And then all it takes is a split second for her to do a 180 and totally ditch Lynette.
But
that's Renee. I mean, when she took out Bree to the bar, she took Bree out to the bar, and she started flirting with the guy, Brian Austin Green, and then ditches. She's like, Bree, go have your own. I'm gonna go flirt with this guy.
Yeah,
like she does that all the time. You know what I mean? She makes the effort. She gets in there, and she's like, okay, job's done. Now they can take care of it.
Have you ever been ditched at a bar by a friend?
Yes.
It sucks, doesn't it?
I expect it. I mean, just because I have friends that are very like, they want to talk to everyone, so I'm not going to be like, I want them to stay with me.
No, but it's different though. Like if you go to a bar specifically because you're having a hard time and a friend is saying, hey, I am taking you out. We're going to sit together. We're going to drink these dirty martinis and we're going to talk about how to make you happy and help you move on with your life. And then suddenly they're gone.
Okay, that's never happened.
I would actually be really mad about that. I think that's not cool.
That's never happened, but I've like gone out with people, but I guess you go with the intention that everyone's going to kind of...
Yeah, to like do their own thing and hang out. Yeah.
This wasn't supposed to be a let's go to the bar and both leave with separate people kind of thing.
Exactly.
It was supposed to be a, well, let's go out, let's look around, let's have a good time, let's go home.
Totally. Test the waters and go back to the bar. You know what, though? I said this last week, Roxy, when you weren't here, because I'm coming out of a relationship and I can identify so much with Lynette. And I think this is the reason why this is one of my favorite storylines right now, because when you come out of a relationship and you've been with someone for years, the past few months, I've gone to bars, I don't know, a couple of times, like to meet up with friends or whatever. And it can be totally depressing. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm single again. I'm out like getting pushed around and having people scream in my ear and dump like a glass of red wine on me or something. I totally feel for Lynette because I think that they have accurately captured what so many viewers out there can relate to and have felt or maybe currently are feeling right now.
It's like they were talking about how they can meet a person, and she first was looking at online dating, and some people think that's lame, some people think it's appropriate. Meeting somebody at a bar, it's so risky. It's like you get there and like you're saying this whole, who are the people going there? Is it the people who are feeling the most lonely? Are the people that are just going to get drunk and want to take somebody home to have a one night stand? It's hard. It's really hard. And you get there and you know that you're one of those people at a bar and you're looking for somebody else. Yeah.
But maybe there are other people out there like Lynette though. Exactly. And that's the thing. It's like, so all of these people who are going to bars, they're not horrible rapists. They could be normal people who have experienced a bit of pain and really are honestly trying to connect with someone else normal.
Same with the people online dating though. Are they the losers that couldn't meet anybody else, or are they the awesome people who are just looking to find somebody real? Like, it's just hard. You never know what people's intentions are, I guess.
But you know what? You could meet, like my mom, her second husband, Mormon. They met like in a Mormon temple. And he turned out to be the biggest douchebag of all. I wish my mom was an alcoholic so she was out at a bar meeting some guy because she would have had better luck than him. Yeah. I'm telling you. You never know.
I think that's what I was just going to say. 100%. That's the whole point. Like no matter what situation you go to meet someone, you never know. Bottom line.
Yeah.
You can only find love when you stop looking for it.
Oh my gosh, these nuggets of wisdom that you just randomly drop.
I know.
That is.
I'm so inspirational.
Do you care to share any more personal stories of love?
No, I thought my best comment of the night still was the come and the up. So we can move on to the love business.
Oh my goodness, this certainly is not a family show tonight. You know what?
Excuse me, I'm still in Jersey Shore in my mind.
Why don't we take a little commercial break so we can all regroup, and then we'll talk about some predictions for next week. How about that?
Awesome.
The biggest new media platform on the web just got bigger. More bandwidth, smoother streaming, lightning fast downloads.
Don't get technical with me.
AfterBuzz TV is making the jump to hyperspace. Join the fun at your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Look at the size of that thing.
AfterBuzz TV.
And welcome back.
What happened to our commercial?
Yeah,
our VO guy Rich, he's in the works of making some more amazing VOs for us, and that's one of our new commercials.
Oh, cool.
Oh, awesome.
We'll be recycling them, but
wow, that's great. So next week's episode, I know you're all so bummed that I'm not going to be here. I'm actually going to Salt Lake because I have a 1-year-old niece and a 3-year-old niece. I'm going to take them trick-or-treating. So I'm not going to be around, but on Sunday night, maybe I'll call in so you fine ladies, we can have a nice...
Tell us about your costume and what you put together and do all of that.
Well, do you want to tell everybody what you are being forced to be?
Yes, I am being forced to dress as Lynette from Desperate Housewives.
Yeah. I see comparisons.
No, actually, that's a joke.
That would kind of be epic.
That would be epic.
The thing is, when you live in LA, you have so many Halloween costumes because every year it's like I was at a Halloween party a couple nights ago. I was a Mormon missionary. I am going to be something different on Friday. There are so many, and you can't be the same thing at every party.
I was just Sully from Monsters, Inc.
Wait a minute.
I was Dory from Finding Nemo.
Why can't you be the same thing?
Dude, why can you not be the same thing?
Facebook, photos,
exactly.
Costume, different places.
Los Angeles, the most judgmental city on the planet. People like me who will judge you if you wear the same costume and I see you on Facebook.
Be more creative than that.
Judged, then.
No.
Mine's epic.
What is it? Okay, but if it's something, that's the only condition. If you have something that's completely amazing or that you put so much effort into it, then I think you should be able to wear it for like the full week.
No way.
Are you going to tell me like those people who like go to conventions and make those head to toe Warcraft costumes?
You mean Comic-Con people? No, yeah, those people should all be in mental institutions.
Yeah.
First of all,
are you arguing for them?
Yes.
Honestly, I think
love them.
If you make an epic costume, maybe you can bring it back next year and have a religious.
That's
Halloween.
Way more social suicide to bring back a costume from the year before.
You can't wear the same costume back to. First of all, I sweat on Halloween. I got that BO. You want to wash that?
I'm not going as a housewife when I go to Salt Lake because imagine me trick-or-treating in the suburbs of Salt Lake and meeting all my Mormon neighbors and I'm dressed in drag. No, that's not going to happen, people.
You should have with those legs that you showed us last week.
What?
I was wearing shorts under the desk last week. Long story. So next week's episode.
I want to talk about Lynette and Tom a little bit. I feel like
let's talk about them.
I'm just freaking out about their marriage, and whether they're going to be okay.
I think they are going to be okay.
We already gave the spoiler alert for that. That they are going to be okay. They're just playing around with our emotions.
Okay.
Well, and we also see them.
I know. I just don't see. I know. I'm worried. I'm worried about this couple.
But in one of the early scenes of this episode, though, when Lynette and Tom are sitting in their therapist's office, and the therapist lays it out and says, "Okay, look, you're not only trying to survive day to day. You've got to figure out: are you moving
your goal
apart? Yeah, what's your goal? Are you moving apart, or ultimately, are you going to try to get back together?" And I feel like, come on, they can't tease us. We love Lynette and Tom. We love their kids. Well, redheads. I'm totally kidding. I'm totally kidding. And so I feel like they sort of threw that out there, and I think we will see that through.
I just don't understand, though, how it was so Lynette anti being with Tom, and now it's so opposite. Where was that change?
Oh, I completely get that. She was anti because she freaked out because she found out that he was even considering maybe having sex with someone else. So she freaked out and was like, "Oh, I'm going to get revenge and do this too." And then she has
that's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying when she originally talking about episodes and episodes ago, where she was like, "I don't want to get back with you. I don't want to do this."
It was the night when she had the nightmare and she went over to stay with Tom, and they ended up hooking up. And the next day, Tom said, "Hey, if you want to get back together, I'm totally open to that." And she then had that moment. It was like, oh, I'm so sorry. That's not what I meant at all. I do not want to get back together.
And now she seems a little more open and he's more closed off.
But that's why this episode, I feel like everything turned in this episode because the whole scene where she goes to the bar, she meets the guy who she thinks is the valet, goes home with him, they start hooking up, her wedding ring falls off. I feel like that wedding ring scene with the shag carpet, that
anxiety. Oh my God.
Oh wow, we were sweating bullets.
I was freaking out. I was totally like clawing at her. Honestly, that's so awkward for all parties involved. What do you do if you're Lynette in that situation? What do you do if you're that poor guy? Oh, honey.
So awkward.
It's so awkward. And I don't know. What do you just say, oh, I can't find my ring. Oops, let me just leave it there. Like, she had no option. It was so awkward and we saw it coming. Oh.
But she kind of had a meltdown too because when her ring wouldn't come off and then it fell into the carpet, she had sort of a panic attack.
Yeah.
And when he came out there and was, when he came out and said, oh, you want to do it right here? And then was kind of being funny and she was like, no, don't make jokes right now. This is not a time to joke around. I mean, she really was like, ooh, it's kind of awkward to say for someone you just met to see you having this meltdown.
I wanted him to be more.
But it's so important. I don't understand why you really, really care. Like someone you just met one time. Sorry, this is my train of thought. I'm just like, it's your wedding ring. I would totally have the mental breakdown and I wouldn't even feel embarrassed after.
But she knew that it went into the carpet. It's not like it was,
Yeah, it's not like, where'd it go? Oh my
God.
She
knew she would find it eventually, right? Those rugs are only so big.
I wanted him to be more of an asshole. I didn't like what a great guy he was because then I was like, oh, do I see potential with Lynette and him? And I was thinking about that and I didn't want to think about that. I wanted him to be some douchebag who was like, listen, bitch, either screw me or get out.
No, but I liked that he was good. I liked that he was good because it shows even more that she has feelings for Tom. Because if it's some douchebag, it's so easy to say no to. If you're saying no to someone who's really good, that means that there's something like...
That's true.
I loved that he said to her, it's okay, I understand, you're not ready for it. That's totally right. That's totally right. She could have easily walked out if some guy had been... being inappropriate.
You're right. I stand corrected.
But you know what? I thought that storyline was also going to go someplace else too, because he mentioned twice when she thought he was the valet, he was like, oh yeah, some gay guy I work with said vests are really in. Shouldn't have worn this. And then they get home, the ring is in the carpet. Oh yeah, some gay guy I work with said that shag carpet was in. I guess I shouldn't let him design my place. I thought it was like there were kind of a lot of references.
Yeah. Are we going to see him again?
I doubt it.
He was a
really doubt it.
I think he was a Screen Actors Guild day player. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But by the way, speaking of gay neighbors, we only saw Lee. We only saw Lee in this one episode, and this was part of the Susan art class storyline when she's trying to get comfortable with her body, and she says, I am going to be naked." Here, of course, she's naked in the classroom, and she's making breakfast naked, and Mike comes down and is like, "Hey, what's going on?"
Yeah. By the way, he should have been like, "Hey, what's going on?" Not like, "Oh, this is weird."
Yeah, exactly. Mike was like. Weird. Totally blank face.
Yeah, it was bizarre.
So when they're sitting at the table and she hears Lee at the door and she says like, "Oh, my best gay," and she runs up to the door and flings it open and he says, "This is Bob's mother of God." Amazing. Oh my gosh, I thought I was going to lose it.
It's just so funny because he played this. I thought maybe the mom was going to come back at some point. She played no part in the rest of the episode. Bob and Lee both were not in the rest of the episode. It was only the comic relief of the moment. Hysterical.
So worth it.
It's so worth it.
So worth it.
Somebody was like, this would be epic. Let's just stick it in there.
I'm going to drag you both back to predictions.
Okay, yes. Thank you for reining us in.
We're reining you both
We got a show to wrap up.
The game moments.
Whatever.
I feel like most of the predictions are pretty obvious, and the one that is the biggest cliffhanger for me is when Ben takes Bree out into the woods to show the location where this low-income housing, whatever, is going to be built.
It just so happens to obviously be the place where they buried the dead body first episode.
Right, so what does that mean, my ladies?
Well, we see in predictions, we see them going to dig up the body.
What
the hell do you do with that body? Maybe you should have dumped it in the river instead of the forest? I don't know.
Who's going to be the first to dig it up? That's my question.
The first what?
To dig it up.
Bree.
Well, I love the fact that this is totally coming back to them because, of course, this couldn't be just the secret that everyone forgot about. Of course, they have to dig up the body. Of course. Why would they not be?
And move it?
It's going to be a disaster. It's going to be a mess. Whatever happens, it's going to be a mess.
Yeah, and now we've got Bree's ex-cop with a serious vendetta against her.
Yes, the investigator, Chuck, right? Chuck is going to show up and... Why didn't what?
I was just like, why didn't they just like burn the body or something?
I don't know. We're not murderers. We're not that sophisticated. And clearly, they are not either because they just stuffed him in a trunk and drove him to the woods.
I don't know how I would get rid of a body. I don't even know how would you do that?
I don't know, but the good news is you have a full week to think about that before next week's show.
Hopefully I have a full lifetime to not think about that, actually.
That is the better way to look at it. I would agree.
You guys know that I'm going to be calling you both up one night, like 2 a.m. How do I get rid of a body? You're going to freak out, and I'll be like, no, I was just thinking about Desperate Housewives.
Oh, gosh.
Okay.
Please let it not be true. Well, happy Halloween, everybody, next week. And I guess I will be your call-in guest on next week's show.
Yeah. Oh, that's exciting. We get to see the costumes. Who looks the sexiest next week?
Oh, I don't know. Are you two going to dress up for the show?
Yep.
Are you really?
I hadn't thought about it until you said it, but now I'm definitely doing that.
Okay, well, it's not my homework assignment, but if you two want to go for it, then have at it.
We'll each dress up like a housewife. Oh, yeah, we're going all out.
If we don't dress up as housewives for next week's episode, I think that sometime, because this is the 8th and final season...
Maybe
we need to dress up
finale.
as our favorite characters from the show.
So should we do that now, or should we do that then?
Why can't I be like, I don't know, Tom?
No.
Because it'd be funnier if you were Lynette.
I'll dress as the women if
you're
you'll dress as the men.
If you're going to be a boy, you've got to be Carlos.
Oh, great. My favorite character. All right, everybody. Well, thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Derrick Shore, along with Sara Stret, Roxy Stryer, DJ Jesse in the booth. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we're fans of the Housewives. We hope you are too. Please call us or tweet us anytime you like. We're always here at AfterBuzz TV.
Thanks, guys.
From producers Kevin Undergaro and Phil Svitek, engineer DJ Jesse Janity, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. If you have questions or comments, be sure to buzz us at info@AfterBuzzTV.com. And you can find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for AfterBuzz TV.
Bye.
Buzz you later.
AfterBuzz. The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.